It was 5:50 a.m. on June 6, 1944. Along 50 miles of the Normandy coast, an imposing silhouette darkened the horizon, the greatest war fleet ever assembled. Over 6,900 ships, from battleships to humble landing craft, awaited the signal. On land, under the veil of dawn, German soldiers of the 352nd Infantry Division and other units watched, tense that threatening spectacle. What followed, during the 40 loudest minutes in history, was the prelude of steel and fire for Operation Overlord. This is the account of the D-Day naval and aerial bombardment.
The Allied plan was clear and brutal, an anvil of fire. Before a single Allied soldier set foot on the beaches codenamed Omaha, Utah, Gold, Juno, and Sword, an unprecedented artillery barrage would soften the defenses. The logic was overwhelming: destroy bunkers, silence guns, cut barbed wire, and stun the defenders. From the sea, the Naval Task Force, under the overall command of Admiral Sir Bertram Ramsay, positioned its giants. Veteran battleships like the USS Texas and USS Nevada, the latter resurrected from the bottom of Pearl Harbor, cruisers and destroyers lined up. Their missions were specific: to create precise curtains of fire on fortified points like the cliffs of Point de Hoc and the beach exits. From the air, the mission fell to the heavy B-17 Flying Fortresses and B-24 Liberators of the U.S. 8th Air Force and RAF bombers. The original plan called for visual precision bombing, but fate and the Normandy weather would have their say. At 5:50, promptly, a deafening roar tore through the air. The battleship HMS Warspite opened fire, followed by a coordinated salvo from hundreds of naval guns. American Admiral Alan G. Kirk, commander of the Western Task Force, watched the fusillade. For 35 minutes, a deluge of steel fell upon the coast. The battleship USS Arkansas off Omaha fired over 500 rounds from its main battery. The physical impact was devastating. In the Utah Beach area, the bombardment was focused and effective. The lighter, more dispersed German positions were largely neutralized. German soldier Franz Gockel, in a bunker at Omaha, described the hell in his diary. The darkness dissipated into a curtain of smoke and dust. The earth trembled. We could hear nothing but the roar of the explosions. However, effectiveness had a critical limit: the safety of their own troops. The timings were rigid. The naval bombardment had to cease at 6:25, exactly 5 minutes before H-hour, to allow the aircraft to take action and to avoid hitting the landing craft already approaching. This pause, although necessary, gave the surviving German defenders exactly 5 minutes to emerge from their shelters, reposition their MG-42 machine guns, and prepare for the first wave of infantry. While the ships thundered, in the sky, an operation of colossal scale faced an unexpected enemy: the weather. Over 2,300 heavy bombers had taken off, carrying about 10,000 tons of bombs. Their target? A strip 500 yards behind the beaches to create shell craters for cover and destroy rear networks. But the reality on target was different. The low cloud cover and fog over the coast was nearly 10/10. Fearing hitting the Allied fleet or the first landing waves, an unacceptable risk, the commanders ordered a delay of several seconds in bomb release. It was a tactical error with terrible consequences, especially at Omaha Beach. The vast majority of bombs fell 3 kilometers inland, exploding in empty fields and killing cows, but sparing the coastal fortifications. The primary defenses of the German 352nd Infantry Division at Omaha, the concrete bunkers at points like Les Moulins and Vierville-sur-Mer, survived practically intact. In contrast, at Utah Beach, where defenses were less dense and the naval bombardment was more focused, the effect was far more satisfactory, a key factor in the relatively quick success there. By the end of the 40 minutes, at 6:30, a relative silence fell over the coast. The numbers were impressive. The Allies had fired over 20,000 tons of metal and explosives, but the results were uneven.
In tactical terms, the bombardment was a partial and costly success. At Utah and most British sectors, it fulfilled its role, but at Omaha, its failure was nearly catastrophic. The troops of the U.S. 1st and 29th Infantry landing at 6:30 found an alert, organized, and nearly intact defense. Lieutenant John R. Armelino, Company A, 116th Infantry, described the terrifying surprise. "We expected the bombardment to have razed everything. When the doors of our LCVP opened, the machine gun fire was so intense the water around us boiled with the impacts." The human cost of this strategic failure would be reflected in the following hours, turning Omaha into bloody Omaha. The bombardment failed to create the necessary breaches and gave the Germans the exact time to recover. The naval and aerial bombardment of June 6, 1944, taught a bitter and crucial lesson in the art of war. Even the most overwhelming force can be neutralized by weather, timing, and resilient defense. It demonstrated the limits of the era's technology and the inflexible importance of synchronization in combined operations. Its historical importance, however, is undeniable. It established the industrial power and determination of the Allies. Even while failing in part of its tactical objective, it fulfilled a greater strategic purpose. It was the unmistakable opening declaration that Fortress Europe would be attacked with full force. But as the echo of the naval guns still dissipated in the morning air, a new and decisive chapter was already in motion. At 6:30 sharp, the ramps of the 1st Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel, LCVPs, dropped into the cold waters of Normandy. The success or failure of the entire Overlord plan now depended on the courage of individual men under crossfire. In our next video in this chronological series, we will follow in detail the first wave of landings. We will see the heroism and sacrifice on Omaha Beach, the quick decision at Utah, and the fierce fight of the British and Canadians to secure a foothold. D-Day was entering its most critical and human phase. This narrative was built based on official U.S. Navy and Air Force after-action reports, the war diaries of the German 352nd Infantry Division, analyses by historians such as Gordon A. Harrison, Cross-Channel Attack, and the Imperial War Museum Archive. We honor the memory of all who were present on that historic morning. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed diving into that secret D-Day mission with me. Knowing these details is what brings history to life, right? But listen, if you're a fan of real history, documented facts, and war strategies that seem like they're straight out of a movie, you can't miss what's coming next. Show some love to the channel here, all right? Hit that subscribe button. It's free and it's the biggest support you can give. Every subscriber shows me you want more content like this. Turn on the notification bell because I don't want you to miss the next videos. I post new content every week, and sometimes YouTube just doesn't show it to everyone. With the bell on, you'll be the first to know. Leave a like on this video. It really helps spread the word and shows you want more stories in this style. And speaking of which, drop a comment below. What part surprised you the most? Is there a specific operation or battle you want to see covered here on the channel? I read every comment and love connecting with you all. Stay tuned because the D-Day saga continues. In the next videos, we'll cover the beach landings, the fierce German resistance, and the unsung heroes who changed the course of the war, all based on official reports, diaries, and real facts. This is just the beginning. There's so much more history on the way. Thanks for watching, for your support, and for your interest. Remember, subscribe, hit the bell, and leave a like. Until the next video, take care.